Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I have a wonderful guest for you next. This is Katie Emery. Katie is the founder of KatieGoesPlatinum.com, a website devoted to the subject of gray hair. Katie founded the site in 2018 to provide comprehensive information about gray hair and to show women that growing out their gray could be fun and empowering. Katie Goes Platinum has been featured in publications such as Authority Magazine, Thrive Global, Vogue Brazil, and Women's World. Katie, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I've been looking forward to this for several weeks now. So thank you so much for being here. So Katie, this is sort of a trend, I think, and it's gaining momentum for women just to let their hair go natural. And it's hard to see right now, but I actually have a big chunk of gray hair right here at my temple, and I'm getting silver threads all through. And at first I was a little bit shocked. Like, am I that age? But then I thought, no, you know what? I kind of like it, and I'm just going to let it go too. So what's sort of the history of this, if you know that, like when did women start dyeing their hair, and what's behind this trend, you think, to just go natural now?
Well, I guess, and I have to do more research on this, but from what I understand, women started dyeing their hair in droves in the 1950s, because that's when Clairol, I think, was the first one to make a really good home dye kit. And it's interesting, if you look at the commercials and the advertisements in magazines before that, they were celebrating gray hair. You know, they had even, I can't remember which dye company it was, but they even had products you could buy to make your gray hair look even better. And then all of a sudden it became like, oh, you've got to cover that gray. Your husband's not going to like it. Your friends are talking behind your back. You know, it really started, I think, in the 50s, maybe 60s, became the norm. And then it got to the point where I think it was like 85 or maybe 75 or 85% of women around the globe dye their hair. And hopefully that's changed a little, because what I always tell people is I don't think everybody should be forced to go gray. And I don't think, it's the only thing that you should do, but I don't think you should feel ashamed for letting your hair grow gray if that's what you want to do. And that's what's been nice about this movement that started with young girls in their, I guess, very young girls wanting to dye their hair silver. And that started making older women think, well, why can't I do that? My hair's just coming in that way naturally. And so that kind of started the whole trend. And I don't think it's going to stop, because once, hopefully those of us who have daughters, they'll see that how good it looks, and they'll see that it doesn't matter how old you are. Some of us started going gray at 16 or younger. I know a lady who went gray at 5 started getting gray hair.
Wow.
So it doesn't have to be a marker of advanced age. And even if it was, why don't we just celebrate the change?
Oh, exactly. I love that message. I really love that message. And I'm wondering if, like, so much of the beauty and cosmetics and enhancement industry, if I can call it that, if that was really what was behind it, was just selling products. And of course, we women are so seemingly susceptible to the message that we're imperfect, we're flawed. If we only purchase this product, this skin cream, this hair dye, then that will help us be more acceptable. Do you think that's part of it too?
I think no, I definitely think that's it. There's peer pressure for sure. And, it's hard because maybe it started with the magazines and everybody telling you this, and this is how we should feel. That's where it really does seem to have kind of emanated from. But people start taking that to heart. And next thing you know, you've got your older female relatives telling you, you can't let your hair go gray. No man's going to want to marry you. You look old, or like you've let yourself go, or bedraggled or whatever. And so there's a lot of, ingrained ideas about that hopefully we're knocking down some of those, cross my fingers. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm really noticing since discovering your website and just loving your tribe, you have so much fun with it. I notice gray hair now. Like I'm looking at it more deliberately. I'm not staring, but I'm really noticing. And I think women actually look more beautiful because it's natural. And so it's the natural color at whatever phase of life they're in. If their hair starts going silver, platinum, it's what was meant to happen, and it suits the skin tone and the eye color and everything, because it's so natural. And some women with gray hair, silver hair, white hair look stunning. They just look stunning.
They do. And if you've ever been, I don't know if you've ever been to an event that's all women with gray hair of all ages. I mean, I don't know why you would, but I've been to
I
several of
haven't,
those. And what's interesting is how everybody's hair is so different. You know, like first of all, it does complement their skin tone. Like my friend Jolie always says, Mother Nature knows what she's doing. So when I was dyeing my hair dark, I thought I was doing the right thing. But when I look back at pictures of myself, it really started to look too dark the older I got, you know, and it really kind of made my face disappear because I'm very pale. And I always thought if I went gray that I would just fade into the woodwork because I'd be gray and all white. I have no pigment in my lips or anything. And actually it's the opposite. It makes my skin glow so much. I actually usually wear less makeup. I'm wearing makeup today just to be special, but I find I don't need as much makeup as I used to. And what I was going to say is the natural hair color patterns are so fascinating. Like no matter how expensive your dye job is, it's still artificial looking. And I didn't notice it so much until my friends and I, you know, stopped dyeing our hair. And when you go into a room full of women, like I said, of all ages, races, ethnicities with gray hair, everybody's got a different pattern, a different color. Some of us have all white hair. Like my hair is silver on top, but underneath it's almost black, you know? So, and some women have only a streak of gray hair, and some of them, you know, have it gray underneath and not on top. So who knows? You know, it's just interesting how it comes out. It's unique.
It is, and I love that because we are all unique, and why not have our hair, you know, reflect that too. So you know, I know that some women will say things like, I don't want my hair to go gray. I don't want people to see my gray hair because it's not sexy, or it's not cool, or I'm not going to look as young as I look now, or men won't notice me, my husband won't like. I mean, you probably heard all the excuses. You know, what do you have to say about that? What's your response to all that, to those things, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because all these fears I had about going gray, none of them came true. In fact, it's kind of funny because, you know, I started really seriously thinking about going gray when I was about 40, but I just kept waiting because I was worried, you know, and about looking older or not like myself or looking messy, all the things that people worry about, or maybe it would impact my career, you know, and the men thing, like my husband was fine with it, but you know, we always hear that men aren't interested in women with gray hair, or it's going to hurt your dating. Not that I'm trying to date, my husband wouldn't like that, but what's funny is all the opposite has happened. Like the attention from men has kind of gotten insane. Apparently a lot of men really find it appealing. And most of the women in my Facebook group, they haven't found that to be a trouble. Like if they go on dating apps and stuff, the only people who give them trouble for it are probably people they won't want to date anyway, because they have such prescriptive ideas about what women should look like, you know. And the job thing, I was worried about that. It hasn't affected me. I mean, obviously there are some people this might not be true for, but the vast majority of women I've spoken to, none of their fears came true. Most of us feel like we look better with our gray hair. Our significant others find it attractive. Even strangers on the internet that we don't want to find us attractive find us attractive. And I don't know, that I just think you have to kind of almost retrain your own brain to not see gray hair as immediately equaling elderly, you know. And obviously there's nothing wrong with being elderly, but if you're 30, you don't want people to think you're 70, you know. But once you can start seeing it as just a different shade of hair color, which it is, because like I said, some women, I was probably 50% gray by the time I was 30 years old, and some women are all gray, you know, at a very young age. And so it doesn't really matter what your age is. It really is more genetic, and health can also cause issues with early graying. And certain ethnicities tend to gray more. Like I'm Irish American. Irish Americans apparently go gray super early. So,
okay.
But yeah, all those fears I had, they didn't come true. You know, it's great. I have been given a senior discount occasionally, and now I'm 55, so that's okay because that's usually where it starts. But when I was 50 and 51, I'd be kind of offended. And now I had to train myself, like, don't be offended. First of all, these people have probably never seen a woman under 80 with gray hair. And secondly, why not just take the free discount and just enjoy yourself, you know? So, nice perk. So,
well, you know, when it comes to feeling sexy or looking sexy, every man I talk to about that exactly will say the number one thing they find sexy in a woman is confidence. It has nothing to do with her shape, her size, her hair color, what she's wearing. I mean, those things can be enhancements, but you know, it's confidence. And so I think when a woman decides to let her hair go gray and she loves it as you do, and you feel really truly yourself, you feel more authentic, you are going to exude that confidence. And so I think that probably, would you agree, that has a lot to do with the really positive responses you're getting, that people
Yeah.
see the real you and you're confident and you pull it off beautifully.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And I even did a survey of the women on my site and in some various gray hair groups. And I asked them, because, the number one fear women talk about is looking old or unappealing with gray hair. But when I asked what they meant by old, they didn't mean elderly. They didn't have a number in mind. What they meant was dowdy or frumpy is what they meant, so old is not really the right term. But I what I found, and like you said, other people have found too, is once you stop trying to hide this part of yourself, which for me it was every 2 weeks at least, my gray hair would start showing through my dye, and I'd be sitting in my car, using the powder the root powder or like the mascara, and I'd be conscious if I was going on vacation or to a big event, if my hair looked okay. Now that I'm done with all that, I do feel more confident, and you feel like you can be authentically who you are. And it also makes you feel kind of rebellious, because it's still a rebellion in our culture to not dye your hair.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps with the confidence aspect too, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. And the master class is called Wild and Wise, and so this is maybe a little bit of the wild coming out
Yeah.
in that. So let's say a woman decides that she's had it with dyeing her hair, she doesn't want to do that anymore, it's too much of a hassle. I love your story about applying mascara in the car. What's the process involved for letting your hair grow out its natural color?
Well, by the way, pardon me if you hear my dog, he's snoring in the background. So.
That's okay.
Well, there's a different way for everybody. There's no perfect way to go gray. So it really depends on your temperament and your pocketbook, and whether you're a person who likes change, because the fastest way to go gray would be to buzz off all your hair. And that is actually a pretty badass thing to do. And I think it can look fantastic on a lot of women, but a lot of us don't want to do that. It would be too jarring. So you have to I think it's really important to think about your personality. Like, what do you like? And for me, I had very dark hair. I was born with pitch black hair, and I was used to being a green-eyed brunette. And so and I liked having long hair. I was never allowed to have long hair as a child, so I really love having long hair. And so the idea of since my hair was so dark and also very damaged from years of dyeing, it eventually takes a toll on your hair. My hair was like straw and it was thinning. And so I knew that you had to dye, or you have to bleach your hair a lot to go gray. And I knew my hair wouldn't stand for that. So I decided I'm just going to grow it out, and to hell with it. And I don't care. And so it took me 2.5 years. And I walked around with a major skunk stripe that just grew a little every month, and it drove people crazy, but I loved it. It was like for me, it was the perfect way to go gray, because I didn't have to cut my hair. I didn't have to do a salon transition. And I kind of also liked showing the world, like, I don't care what you think, this is what I'm doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason or for some women, that sounds like the worst hell on earth they can imagine. So there's other ways to do it. It really depends on the health of your hair. If your hair is pretty healthy, if it's pretty thick and in good condition, and it's not too dark, you can probably do a pretty easy transition at the salon. But if you have very damaged hair like I did, or your hair is super dark, it's going to be expensive and possibly damaging to do the salon transition. So that's something I talk about a lot on my blog, is there's a way for everybody, but you have to really know yourself first.
Yeah. I was just thinking, when you're talking about your hair growing out, and you had a kind of a sharp line there. Just this afternoon, I saw a young woman with a shoulder length bob. The top half of it was sort of it was a pale color, sort of a blonde, and then the bottom half was pink. And there was a clear line that went all around, just about at the line of the bottom of her ears. And so as you were describing that, I thought, if someone didn't like that gray and then the dark hair underneath it, you could just dye it some other color for a little while, because that hair is going to go anyway at some point. You must have cut off your black hair at some point.
Yeah, I did. And actually, I wish I'd thought about doing that when I was going through all this, but I didn't want to do more salon processes, like I told you, because I was worried. But what I did do is I kept using, and I don't recommend what I did. I kept using a clarifying shampoo to fade my dyes. But what happened is it became like a bozo orange color. It was not good. And then you can use blue shampoo to kind of reduce the orange. But I finally just said, I don't care anymore. And I just did it. And I got more cut off than I would have liked. I probably had it cut down to a bob at some point. But a lot of women, what they do is they do dye it like blue or purple, magenta, and they have fun with it. You know, I work at a fairly conservative company, so I didn't want to do that. Although they didn't complain about my hair growing out, so maybe they're not as a hardline as I expected. But and there's other ways I talk about in my blog. There's other ways to go gray. Some women wear wigs. They don't want to deal with that, and they don't want to cut their hair. They don't want to dye it anymore. So they'll literally wear a wig until their hair grows out, and then just surprise everybody by taking the wig off and saying, "Look,
wow,
that's a
so
good
you
way
could
to
have
do
like
it."
a reveal party.
Yeah,
yeah,
and there's even more ways. So there's ways for everybody.
Well, I love that you have so much fun with it, and maybe that's a message we could give the audience is just have fun, just relax, just let go of the expectations, let go of what you think other people will say, and just have fun. I mean, you embody that so well.
Oh, thank you. I do have fun with it. Yeah.
So, I guess let's just talk about, you've mentioned this a little bit already, but what's been the impact for you for letting your hair go gray? Do people actually walk up to you on the street and comment on it? Have you had lots of messages on the blog about it? What kinds of impact, what kinds of comments do you get?
It's funny because I thought my hair would be the topic of conversation all the time, since so many of my friends haven't, done this. And when I do hear from my friends, not even the ones who thought I was crazy, now they do like it. So my friends and my family all think it's great and I should never go back to dyeing. I don't get as many comments from strangers as I expected. When I was growing it out, I did, because they were like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, I get lots of, the only comments I really get from strangers are online, and they usually really like it, but not everybody's so lucky. Some people have some, unsupportive family and friends. And it's just something I've told people the best way to handle that is just to say, my hair is not up for discussion. I like it. And that's all that matters, because you shouldn't have to hear negativity, from people about it.
That's right. And it is our own individual decision. It's our hair, damn it. And we'll do what we want with it. We want it to go gray, it's going to go gray.
And isn't it funny how going gray or anything with your hair and appearance, some people are very invested in that and wanting to know why you did it, and maybe being judgmental. It seems like it should be kind of I guess my readers in England say that doesn't happen so much over there. People don't just come up and talk to you about something private like that, but that's definitely not the case here. So in America.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to answer the rest of your question, which was did you ask me how it's impacted?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I was just going to say that the major impact for me is, I think, the confidence, like you said, and feeling more like myself than I have in years, has led me to do other things and take more chances. Because I didn't realize that I had this limiting belief that I had to dye my hair. I didn't know I was feeling that way until it came to the time when I stopped doing it. And then I started thinking, well, that wasn't true. So what else in my life is not true? And, I can do hard things now. So it led to some changes with my career and just, I don't know, the whole shebang. I started the blog at 55. I'm learning more than I ever have about new things. I hope I'm staving off Alzheimer's with some, all this brain power I'm expending trying to learn new technologies. And I've heard from a lot of women that had the same reaction. It's like making this one major change has led to a domino effect of more changes happening in a good way. So.
That, you are such an amazing role model that way. And it really speaks to, I guess there's courage. I mean, it takes a certain amount of courage to make a change like that. But what I'm hearing you say is it led to other things where maybe you thought it was going to be hard and it wasn't as hard as you thought. And isn't that true for so many things in our lives, where the anticipation of something is often much worse than the actual thing?
That's true.
You may have thought, when I start going gray, it's going to be like, what'll be like. And in fact, it's been wonderful for you. And I love that you said, then I can transfer this, confidence that I've developed from letting my hair go gray to other areas. Because if this goes so well, then what else am I holding myself back from? And you mentioned limiting beliefs. And I think that's so true and so important for our women to just think about that. In what ways are you holding yourself back? Are you not letting your own beauty, your inner light shine because you think that there'll be a certain response to it that actually never happens.
Yeah, I know. And they always say don't borrow trouble or don't worry about things that are never going to happen. But I'm an anxious person in general, even though I'm a happy person, but also a happy, anxious person. And so I'm always trying to mitigate something that's going to cause anxiety for myself. And it's like, I think this also helped me with some of my anxiety. So it's like, I was so worried about what people would think or what they'd say. And it's like, and I never thought of myself as one of those kind of people who thinks about that, but apparently I was, at least when it came to my hair. So it's forced me out of that comfort zone. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure it is. So your Silver Revolution group, I think you have over 30,000 subscribers or 30,000 members in that.
Yeah, I haven't checked the numbers in a while. My friend Joni Peck actually started that group, and we brought it from 800 people to I think it's 25,000 or 30,000. It's a lot of people, and it's a very engaged group. Like, we don't really have to do a lot in there. People are always sharing. I mean, we get hundreds of posts a day, and it seems like people keep telling me it's their favorite group on the internet because it's very supportive, and we don't allow any bullying. I mean, we kick people out so fast if they start any of that. So, and no politics, which is a huge relief.
Yeah, that is for sure. Well, having so many, I think it's over 30,000 that you have the last time I checked, which was just earlier this week. And I mean, that really speaks to how much impact you're having. And I'm sure it's just going to continue to grow and grow. So you're obviously, you're really touching on something that women feel is important. And there's just this beautiful groundswell that's happening where women, and I really think this, the reason for this whole masterclass, Wild and Wise Women Over 50, is that this is a time in our lives when we stop the willingness to play by other people's rules, and we want to start making our own rules and following them. And you embody that so beautifully. But I'm just curious to know how, when did you start this? You said your friend started Civil Revolution, but your own Katie Goes Platinum, when did that start? And was it slow in building, or did it happen, maybe faster than you thought?
No, it happened so fast. It was kind of crazy. And part of the reason I started it was, I had been looking for help with my gray journey, and I wasn't getting all the answers I was looking for, because I'm a researcher. If I'm going to do something, I want to get all the answers, and I want to make a plan. And a lot of the, even just in 2018, a lot of the, I guess that's when I started, 2018, a lot of the info I was finding was more fear-based or negative about going gray. So, oh my God, well, here's how you have to do it. And it was always sending you straight to the salon to have your hair bleached, and I knew I didn't want to do that. Or I was getting some wrong answers, even from the gray hair groups, about purple shampoo and blue shampoo and what they each do. And so I kind of got tired of that. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just start my own blog. I'd been thinking about blogging for a while. I needed a way to supplement my income, and I'd heard that was something you could do. And so I'd been investigating it. I had never come up with an idea of something I wanted to blog about, because, you have to be interested in it, or you're going to peter out because you'll be bored, writing on the topic. Yeah. And I thought, well, I'll just start my own blog with all this info. And I have to say, I took off so quickly that within 3 months, I got accepted to an elite ad network, Mediavine, and my traffic was just big. It's bigger now, but and it has waves. During 2020, as you can imagine, with the pandemic, it was like 500,000 page views a month, which is about double what it normally is. Yeah. But yeah, it took off really quickly. I started earning an income from it within a few months, which was great because we really needed it. So it's worked out. So.
And so that those sponsors, they came to you. You didn't have to go looking for them.
Well, what it is I joined a Facebook group immediately for blogging. It's a great group called Blogging Like I Mean It. And it's something there for everybody at any level. And I told them I wanted to have AdSense ads placed on my site, and they recommended against it. It can slow down your site and doesn't make a whole lot of money. So they all said, wait till you reach this many sessions, which I can't remember how many it was, but it was a lot. It wasn't small. And then if you reach this many sessions a month, you can get into Mediavine, which pays a lot better. And it did. It was amazing. So I had to apply, but I got in at exactly 3 months, which is unheard of. Most people, it takes a year or longer to get that kind of traffic. But I think there was other women out there like me who wanted this information, and it wasn't coming from a negative place. It was coming from a joyful, excited place. And I think people really liked that.
Oh, I think that makes all the difference for sure. Now, so Katie, did you, had you done any blogging before?
No, I had started looking into blogging in 2017, and I created 2 mini blogs that were just awful, and I don't even know if I ever put them public. You know, that one was a humor one, and you can't, not only can you not make money from a humor one, but I just got bored doing it really quickly. And the other one was a friend of mine and I were going through a hard time, and we both decided to create a blog all about happiness, but I was too negative at the time about stuff to do that. And so I started this one, and even though I had no money at the time, my husband had gotten laid off, and we had a lot of medical bills and things. And but I invested in a lot of courses right away because I knew I had to make money right away, and I didn't want to spend all my time. I didn't have time to spare to learn everything just by going on other people's sites. So I invested in some heavy duty courses and a tutor just so I could get up and running. And I think it really paid off for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. So as your hair has transitioned and you have a beautiful, your hair is a beautiful shade of gray or platinum. Have you had to change your makeup? So do women need to think about, and as we age generally, is that something that women should be doing?
Yeah, I think it's something, if it bothers you to do it, but some people it doesn't bother them. So, do whatever you like. But for me, I found I needed less makeup because, like I said, the color really brightens up my complexion. Although I still have no color, so I do use a little blush and a little lipstick, But some people really worry that the gray is going to completely change their colors, which I don't think it totally does. I've looked into this, and there's so many conflicting answers. The main thing is your skin undertone determines the colors that look best on you. And your hair color, they say, shouldn't matter that much. But I do know that when I was dyeing my hair, it would turn kind of a brassy, orangey color within a month because that's what brunette dyed hair does. And I don't think I noticed right away that brassiness wasn't normal. I thought that was just, oh, I kind of forgot what my natural hair color looked like. And for some reason, that brassy color looked great with beige and with autumn colors, which are not normally my colors. When I was in my teens, I think my mom took me to get my colors done. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
That service.
1980s.
And 1980s. And I was a winter, so like jewel-like colors, like sapphire and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sapphire blue. And so now I find if I do wear beige or anything light like that next to my face, I do just completely fade into the woodwork. So, but if I wear like scarlet red, sapphire blue, emerald green, it looks great. Now for other people, different color of skin and hair, other colors might look great. And like I always say, if you still love orange or beige, then just wear it. But if you really want to stand out, I think it does help to wear complementary colors that look fantastic with your hair.
Yeah. So you mentioned purple shampoo a little while ago, and I'm seeing that a lot in the gray hair sites. There's reference to purple shampoo. And I was thinking about, I remember when I was a little girl, I would see elderly women, and they had a blue rinse, some kind of blue rinse. I don't know what it was. So is purple shampoo the modern day blue rinse, or is it something else?
It's kind of similar to that. And my great aunt and her sister both had blue or purple hair, depending on what they were using. But basically, so just to explain, because I know on the gray hair sites, they talk a lot about blue shampoo too, as well as purple. So if your hair, like mine was, when the brunette dye was fading, it takes on brassy tones, like brassy orange, kind of copper tones. And the only thing that helps get rid of that, besides dyeing over it, is to use blue shampoo. Because if you look at the color wheel, blue is the opposite of orange, and so it neutralizes the orange. And what's nice is if you do that, it does not affect your silver. It just makes it a little brighter. So you can use it all over your head, but it will just reduce the orangeness in your ends. Unless you go crazy and use like way too much of it and you use it too often. But if your hair is gray or blonde or white, your hair can take on yellow tones, especially if you're a smoker, or if you, like me, I live in a place with lots of air pollution, Los Angeles, and I have a bad habit of using way too many hair products, and that can cause buildup. So there's a number of things that can cause yellowing of your gray hair. And so the easy solution is well, first of all, besides changing everything in your life, which I've had to do some of that, but and not everybody, before I continue, let me just tell you, not everybody's going to get yellowing. Some people are lucky they can do anything to their hair and nothing will cause yellowing, but I have very fine hair, it tends to yellow. So if you use purple shampoo not more than once a week, it should reduce the yellowing and make your hair look more silver. Now, it depends too on what color you like. Like my natural hair color, when it's looking really good, is more of a real silver. But if I use purple shampoo a little too much, like twice a week, it becomes like a dark gray, which I don't like. So you just have to kind of test it and see what works for you. So, but yeah, purple shampoo is a good thing to use. Not everybody likes it. Some people are allergic to purple dyes, and they do have, toning agents in them. And there are alternatives like Oribe Silverati is a silver shampoo that also works, and also Quicksilver Hair Clay Kit, which I highly recommend. You put it on once a month, and it strips out all the yellowing. It brightens your hair, and it reduces all the product buildup. So that's my preferred thing. And then if I'm feeling, it takes a little while to do, so maybe just once a week or once a month even, I'll just throw on some purple shampoo just for a quick fix.
Mm-hmm. So are these products best to get them at a hair salon? Are they available in drugstores and where people might find regular shampoo, or is it better to go to a professional?
Well, a lot of people feel sometimes like my recommendations are too expensive, but it's partly because I found that some of these more expensive products work the best. Like some of them you can buy only, I don't know if you can buy them in salons, but I know Keratin, Kerotin, makes a wonderful purple shampoo and conditioner. And I order them online. I need to find out where else you can buy them. Same thing with Bold Unique, which is fantastic. And both of them come with their own conditioner, which is nice because purple hair or purple shampoos can be very drying. And so if they don't come with their own conditioner, you have to use a deep conditioner afterwards. Otherwise your hair will feel straw-like. Yeah. But some people, if they don't want to spend that kind of money at the drugstore, you can definitely get like, I think it's Clairol color. I got to think of the name. There's there's L'Oreal Silver Expressions, which is actually fantastic. And you can get that at the drugstore on Amazon. There's really a whole host of them. My favorite ones happen to be the ones that are made by these made in the USA and cruelty-free brands like Bold Unique and Keratin.
Yeah. And I suppose, you said you really only use it once a week anyway. So it's not like a regular shampoo where you're using every day, every other day. So if it's more expensive, it's going to last a long time because you're just using it.
Sometimes a year. Right. Sometimes they'll last me like a year. I don't use them that much. And I feel like it's worth it because your hair with some of the cheaper ones will feel like straw. Although the L'Oreal Silver Expressions really does not do that. It does leave your hair feeling pretty good. Not everybody can find it though. It's like one of those things. Sometimes you can find it at the drugstore. Sometimes you have to go on Amazon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Katie, what's your favorite story that you've heard from someone in your tribe about going gray and something maybe awesome that she experienced or that happened to her?
Well, let's see. This is my friend Michelle, and actually a few women I know, my friend Maria, they both found whole new careers as models once they decided to go gray. It's like Maria is, she's fabulous. You can find her on Instagram at Bob and Maria, at Bob and Maria. But she's become a silver-haired model in her, I think she's 50. I think she's at least 50, but she's everywhere now. I went to the doctor's office to urgent care on Saturday, and there was her face gracing the cover of one of the Medicare brochures. And she's booking commercials and everything. And same thing with a lot of women. So it's like, it's funny, you can start a whole new career and a whole new existence that you didn't maybe picture for yourself in your 50s.
And had she done modeling before? Was this something completely new for her?
From what I remember, it was completely new, and
Wow.
It's been really awesome for her, so, and it's exciting.
Wow. You just never know, right? You just never know. And it probably, again, it's, it probably speaks to that confidence once we settle into our authentic selves, the way we were meant to look and the way we were meant to feel, then people pick up on that. And who knows what amazing opportunities are around the corner.
That's true. Well, you never know.
Yeah. Well, Katie, I've just so enjoyed talking to you about this. You've been so helpful and you're really, really knowledgeable. I'm sure everyone has learned a lot from this. You have a gift for everyone. Would you like to share what that is?
Oh, sure. I have it right here. Let me show you. It's just a couple of pages, but it has all the steps you need to make a successful transition to gray hair. Because I find that that's the number one question is, how do I do it? Because a lot of women find that if they don't pick the method that's going to work best for them, they end up giving up and heading back to the dye. And sometimes they end up going back and forth with the dye for years. So I laid it all out here. So if you follow these steps, I think that you should be able to have a successful transition and be happy with the results.
Oh, that's just awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And, you know, I've had so much fun. I just love your playfulness and your joy, and this community that you're building is wonderful. Thank you for everything you're doing. And thank you so much for doing this interview too. It's been just a delight.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Good. Take care.
You too.